Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Grandma. Today I have two dessert recipes for you that are new to me. So we're all gonna join together and learn this recipes together. Now this first one is called Cinnamon Buns Swirl Shortbreads. I've made cinnamon buns before and I've made shortbread cookies before. This is a kind of a combination of both. So I'm gonna start with this one because I may have to chill the dough a little bit, and while that's chilling we can move on to the second one, which is going to be Brownie Shortbread thins. They both sound yummy, they both look yummy, so let's see if we can get this done. So first thing we have to do is measure 1 cup of butter. We have to beat the butter and the sugar until it's nice and creamy. You can use an electric mixer or you can just stir it with a wooden spoon. Either one is okay. If it doesn't look like it's getting beat up nice and smoothly, then go ahead and get your mixer out. But most of the time, it's going to be perfectly alright to use the spoon. So I need 1 cup of butter and 1 cup of sugar. Half a cup. And the other half. So we're going to go ahead and stir this up until it's all creamy and all mixed in together. And it's going just fine, so you really don't need a mixer if you don't have one, or if you just don't want to drag it out of the cupboard. There we go. And it's just about done already. There, easy peasy. All the recipes I try to make are very simple to make. For beginners or even intermediate, advanced cooks, it doesn't matter. These are very easy and they're very budget friendly. So you can not have to worry about how much money you're going to spend just to make a little dessert. So we beat that. Now we're going to beat in the egg and the vanilla. So 1 egg. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So 2 capfuls. Remember, I told you before in previous videos that a capful on the regular size, the small, this 250 mils of vanilla the capful is equal to 1 teaspoon. So you don't have to get out a measuring spoon, you can just measure it in the cap. Like that until it's all well incorporated and mixed in together. And I've already got my oven preheated to 350, so that'll be 1 step done. You always want to preheat your oven before you start baking, because you don't ever want to put anything in the oven as it's heating up, because it bakes while it's heating up and then it's going to overbake. Okay, so now we're going to get another bowl. This is kind of the only drawback to this recipe. You do have to have 2 bowls. I like the kind that you just toss everything in 1 bowl and mix it, but for this you need 2 bowls. So we're going to combine the flour, the salt, and the baking soda, and then we're going to add it to the butter. So we need 2½ cups of flour. Half. 1. 1½ and I'm going to be just short just a little. I have to get my other container of flour. And that's 2 cups of flour. To that we add ½ teaspoon of salt. Teaspoon. Salt going in, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And 1/4 teaspoon. So we're going to mix this up good to incorporate, especially with the baking soda. You want that all incorporated into the flour really well, so you don't want any spots of just baking soda. It's not pleasant to bite into. So to this, we're going to add this into flour, add to the butter, and mix it in. Add into the butter. Now this is coming up to the part where I may have to chill it. It's not very hot here today. It's nice. It's hot, but it's not muggy hot. So sometimes when it's overly hot in your kitchen, that's when you need to chill the dough if it doesn't behave like you want it to, if it doesn't roll out or form the way you want it to. But we'll see if I have to or not. Okay. Get that all nicely mixed in. It may not need chilling. Let me just see. What we have to do with this is flatten to a rectangle and roll on parchment paper, roll out to a 10 by 14 inch rectangle. So let's see. Wax paper out here. You can use wax paper if you don't have parchment. I'm just out of parchment right now, but wax paper will do just fine. So you want to put that down and put your dough out on it. I'm probably going to have to go ahead and chill this because it doesn't look like it's going to want to roll without sticking all over the place. It's pretty wet dough. And if you want to add too much flour, you can add a little, but you don't want to add too much because it'll dry it out. Let's just see what I can do here. It says to knead it gently, so let's just go ahead and give it a little toss around here. Yeah, it's pretty sticky. Okay, let's see. Maybe if I just put a titch of flour on the top of it, I can probably get away with not chilling it. I'm an impatient baker. I like everything done right away. I don't want to wait. Sometimes you have to. You don't have a choice. Let me just get my rolling pin. Just going to put a little bit of flour on the top of this and a little bit on my rolling pin. And let's see if we can roll this without too much sticking issues. Not bad. Not bad. It's going. I have to roll it out into approximately a 10 by 14 rectangle, which my wax paper is not near big enough, so I'm going to have to cut another piece. It's going to go right over the edge. Just add a little piece right under here. There we go. Let's see what we can do here. Just a titch more flour. And rub it in. It's like it's just a shortbread dough right now. Basically, this is what this is. And sometimes it's a little wetter than what you want it. That's why they say to chill it for a little bit, because if it doesn't roll without adding too much flour, it's going to be too dry to do anything with. Scooch over there a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to get my ruler and see what we have here. So it says 10 by 14. So I'm not going to measure up this part here because that's went way over. So we have, it's perfect, 10 by 12. Okay, it's got to go just a little bit more lengthwise, or widthwise rather. There we go. All right, so that worked out okay without chilling it. So now what you're going to do, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to cut off all the extra bits. So you want a nice even rectangle. And we'll just take that dough With this dough, you can just go ahead and put it on cookie sheets and make just a couple extra cookies. You don't need to throw it away. Or you can roll it again, like maybe chill it for sure this time because you don't want to roll it twice. It'll get way too sticky. You can roll it and make a small cinnamon bun thingy that we're making. So there we go. We're going to cut off all this. I'm probably for sure going to have to let it chill once I do this next step because it's getting really soft. So now what you want to do is you've got it rolled out. You're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter that has been melted and you're going to brush it all over the dough. Easy peasy. Actually 2 tablespoons of butter is a little bit too much, but that's okay. It's a new recipe, you can always adjust it. I'm just not gonna use the whole because there's a lot there. So that's all covered nicely. And now you're going to take cinnamon sugar, which is about 1/4 of a cup of sugar to a couple of tablespoons of cinnamon, and we're just going to sprinkle that on the whole thing. You want the whole thing covered with it. You can take your brush that you've used for the butter and just even it out a little bit if it's not, if you sprinkle too much at one spot. Just use your fingers or use a spoon and just cover the whole thing. There we go. Now we're going to roll this up. Kind of the way you would like when you're making regular cinnamon buns or a jelly roll type thing. I'm going to roll it, maybe. I'm going to use my parchment paper, my wax paper here to help me so I don't break it. Just going to roll it nice and tight. You want it really tight. Just give it a little press after each roll. There. There we go. Unrolled it. I've got my paper stuck on the bottom here, so I have to just, there we go. Now, just kind of gently pinch the seams together. You want it nice and smooth. And it is going to have to be chilled because I won't be able to cut into this. If I cut it right now, it's just going to stick and fall apart. So I'm going to roll it into the wax paper and I'm going to chill it. And while this is chilling, we will make our other recipe and give this a chance to get cool. Okay, so we're going to start on our second recipe while our dough is chilling to make the cinnamon swirl things. This is Brownie Shortbread thins. Now, the beginning part of it is pretty much the same thing as what we did for the cinnamon swirls, and then we have to put the filling in. So we need 3/4 cup of butter. Okay. And it's the same thing. You can use your mixer or you can use just use the wooden spoon. It'll mix up. If your butter is soft like mine is, I use the tub margarine. I don't use butter. It's kind of expensive here in Canada where I live, and I find that flavor-wise it's pretty much the same. It doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. I mean, it's nice on toast and whatever, you can tell the difference, but when it's baked I can't tell the difference anyway. I don't know, some people may. But anyway, we're going to go with what I have, the soft tub butter. So you need 3/4 cup of that, and you need 1/4 cup of sugar. Here's my sugar, there it is. 1/4 cup of sugar. So you mix the sugar and butter together the same as you did in the other one. Easy, real simple, real quick. And to this we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg, and again just mix that thoroughly until it's all incorporated in there. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get the other bowl, we're going to combine our dry ingredients, then add them to the butter and the egg and mixture here. I'm going to make sure that egg is real good and mixed in there. You don't want any of the white, gooey, slimy stuff. Good and mixed up. And there it is, as easy as that. That's it, done. We'll take our other bowl and we will put in our dry ingredients, which is 1½ cups of flour. My dry ingredients, yeah. 1½ cups of flour. And you always want to make sure that you are, when you measure it, you don't want to leave it mounded up like that. You want to level it off so it's nice and flat and even. And then you're getting your true measuring. That's 1/2 cup. So that's 1½ cups. That goes in. And to that we need 1/4 cup cornstarch. This is the only odd thing. I wouldn't have thought to put cornstarch in a recipe like this, but that's what it calls for. So, you know, like I said, it's a new recipe. That's what I'm going to do. Again, you want to level it off. You want to, whenever you're measuring dry ingredients, you want to make them nice and level. Alright, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Apparently it's not going to rise too much with that little bit in, because normally you kind of match your baking powder with your flour. If it's a 1 cup of flour, it's 1 teaspoon of baking powder. But this was 1½ cups of flour, and it's only 1/4 teaspoon. So it's not going to rise up. This is for your crust. This is for the base. So we're not going to, it's not meant to rise that much. Okay, so take my spoon and give that a mix. And just a pinch of salt it calls for, so I'm just gonna, just a pinch. There we go. Salt acts like a binder. I was always omitting salt in a lot of my recipes because, you know, you don't want to have a lot of salt in your diet. But then my mother told me, oh no, you have to add salt. It's like a binder. It holds everything together. So I started putting back the salt in. So we're gonna mix this all together. And then we just stir it enough just till it holds together. You don't want to overmix it. And we're going to press it evenly into a 9-inch pan, and we're going to bake it for 20 minutes. It's going pretty well. And while this is doing, we'll see if our other dough is chilled enough to cut. Alright. So I've lined my 9-inch pan with the wax paper. So this, again, it's pretty, just like the other one, it's kind of a wet dough. Alright, in it goes. And we're going to just kind of very carefully push it down the back of your wooden spoon and spread it. Or, you know, if it's easier, just go ahead and let's get all the dough off our spoon first. We're going to just keep spreading it. You can use your fingers and just even it out. You want it as even, very, very even, because you don't want one spot to be heavy, higher than the other, and then thicker, and then it'll cook in different times. You'll have one piece that's done and some of it's not done if it's not even. Okay, I'm just going to give this a little pat, just with my hands. You can use like the back of your measuring cup if you like. I'm just going to dip a little flour in it, so if I want to do that to get it nice and even. Okay. Just even it out. There. Okay, so we're going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes, and then we'll make our filling, our topping. In it goes. Set the timer for 20 minutes. Okay, our crust is baked. It did take a little bit longer, and I did make a mistake in the recipe. When I write it down in the comments below, or in the description, when I give you the recipe, I'll put the proper one. I added an egg to the crust batter, and I wasn't supposed to, so that's why it was a little bit too wet. But it just took like an extra 5 minutes to cook. It was okay. So now we're going to go with the brownie level. This is where I needed the egg. I just was reading a little bit too far down in the recipe. So we have to, for the brownies, we have to melt the butter and the chocolate together, which I did. I have cocoa. I didn't buy melting jar, baking chocolate. I just used my cocoa powder and added the butter to it, which was 1/4 of a cup of butter and a little bit of hot water, probably about 2 tablespoons of hot water. And that got me my melted butter, or sorry, melted chocolate. So I mixed the butter and the chocolate in, and to that we're going to add, let's see, chocolate together, and I'm going to whisk in the sugar, egg, and the vanilla and the flour. So 3/4 of a cup of flour, or sorry, 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I gotta watch here, I'm gonna be messing this recipe all the way up. So 3/4 of a cup. I'm thinking that chocolate could have been a little bit thinner, but let's see what happens when it messes up. And we put the egg. Now this is something a little bit different. It's kind of like your basic brownies, but then it's got the shortbread crust. So and you cut them into bars rather than the typical squares. So we melt the butter, whisk in the sugar, egg, and the vanilla, which is a teaspoon of vanilla. And 1/3 of a cup of flour. I'm going to mix that all together. I wasn't sure if my chocolate was melted enough, but once the egg and everything added in there, I'm not whisking it, I'm using my wooden spoon, only for the fact that I wasn't sure if it was melted enough and it would get all kind of blocked up in my whisk. But look at how creamy and easy that was to melt. With that addition of that egg just made it just perfect. That's exactly what you want. Nice and soft and creamy. So we're going to pour this over the crust evenly. This you can spread, so I mean just pour it in there and then you can spread it because the crust is baked partially, so it won't tear it up when you try to spread it. I'm just going to get my rubber scraper and get all the extra goodness out of this, all the extra chocolate out of here. Wooden spoon doesn't quite do it. You need this rubber spatula. Get in there and get all that chocolate. You don't want to miss any of it. There we go. Scrape it off my wooden spoon and then spread it. And then you put this back in the oven and you bake it for, let's see, 20 minutes more, or until a toothpick or a cake tester comes out clean. There we go. In that goes. In it goes. I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. And then if I need more time, I'll add more time, because you always want to do it a little bit less than what it says. So that way if it is done quicker, you're not burning it. So sometimes by the time you smell the burning, it's too late. So I'm going to get my cookie dough out of the freezer. I did put it in the freezer to chill it a little quicker. I had it in the fridge, but I went ahead and put it in the freezer. It says on the recipe fridge or freezer, so then it got a little bit better chilled. Just going to unroll it off my wax paper. It's still pretty soft, but it looks like I can cut it. So I'm going to use actually I think I'm going to use the pizza wheel. And now you cut these into 1/4 inch thick slices. I'm going to just get my ruler here. Usually I can eyeball it, but just for the sake of, because this is a brand new recipe, so you just want to do 1/4. It says it makes 2½ dozen, but I'm not sure. And the pizza cutter is perfect because it is cutting it very easily. And plus the fact that it's very chilled, so that helps. So I'm just going to mark every 1/4 inch all the way down. That's how come you get so many. And they're more of it's a combination of a cinnamon roll and a shortbread cookie. So best of both worlds, right? And right down to the end, and then I'll go back and cut them all the way through. I'm just making the lines, the marks where I need to cut them. And I've already lined my cookie sheets with wax paper. There, I don't know if I'll count them as I put them on the cookie sheet. One, see what it gets me here. Two. And you bake these for about, it says for 13 to 15 minutes. I honestly don't think it's going to take that long because they're small, but I will start the timer off. Well, that one fell apart, which is good. You can just stick it back together. That's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and cut all these right down instead of doing one at a time. It's pretty easy. The pizza ruler was a good idea. A knife probably would have cut just as well, but this is a pretty sharp blade. And then you can just kind of roll it through as well. So, pizza cutter has more than one use. A lot of your kitchen gadgets have more than one use. In your kitchen you can do, for instance, if you're chopping up, when you cook your ground beef, if you want to chop it up, make it really fine, after it's cooked, you can take your potato masher and just chop, chop, chop away, and these are falling apart here. I'm going to be very gentle. It'll be different, that's for sure, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, so it's just, I think, because they're still a little bit on the soft side. Could have chilled just a little bit more, but let's see if I lift it with this. There we go. That's better. Lift it off with this as well. I was going to get my little icing spreader, the little offset spatula thing, but this is working just as well. I didn't cut all the way. There we go. And you just want to put them on your cookie sheet the same way as you would a tray of cookies. And bake them just like you would cookies. Don't make a lot. I think it's because I've had the oven on for a while, so it's a little warmer in my kitchen right now, so that's why they're kind of sticking. Having a little bit of an issue here. Once they cook, they'll be okay. You can always put these back in the freezer or fridge if they're getting too soft like this, and then take them, like, redo them. But I just want to get this first batch in the oven. There we go. Okay, so that's a dozen. 6, 9, 12. No, wait a minute. 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, I put too many on the sheet. It was good. I don't know if they spread, so I only want to put a dozen on the sheet at once. And this was like 18. I didn't realize that I was going getting along so well there, cutting them, and I didn't realize I had that many. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So I'm going to take off 3 more. These guys down so they're even, and put 1 more on there. I don't know how they spread, so that's why I want to just do them. The first tray, I'm going to just do them 12 because I want to make sure that they're not going to spread. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the oven right next to the brownies. 9 more minutes on my timer. We'll see what happens in 9 minutes. So I will meet you back here in just a minute. Okay, we're back and my cookies and brownies are done. So this is what the cinnamon bun swirl shortbread look like, and it looks like a little mini cinnamon bun. Tastes like that, and it tastes like a shortbread cookie too. They come out, they did spread a little bit, so I took the other baking sheet and I spread them out more, and I did make them more of a rounded. I kind of squished them together, make them, because these are a sort of oval from when you cut them, but I did make them a bit rounded, more rounded on the other batch. And then for our brownies, these look, they smell incredible. I don't know, I've never made brownies with like a shortbread bottom before, so we're going to cut one open, cut one into it and see. And it did take the full 20 minutes extra to bake. I wasn't sure if it was going to take that long, but it did. And of course the first one to get out of the pan is always the hardest. Out we go onto my plate, and there you can see the brownie with the shortbread cookie layer. So best of both worlds, shortbread cookie and brownies, and shortbread cookies and cinnamon bun swirl cookies. So I hope you enjoyed these videos. Leave a comment below on what you'd like to see me make, or if you've tried any of my recipes, let me know how they worked out for you. And anything at all you want, whether it's sweet or savory, let me know. Ring the bell so you know when I'm in my kitchen again. And if you haven't already, and thank you very much for those who have. And if you haven't, then please subscribe. So then you'll get, and if you ring the bell, you'll get notifications whenever I am in the kitchen baking or cooking again. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Everybody stay safe. Around here, COVID is slowing down. It's not gone yet, but it's kind of easing off a little bit. We're all doing the proper things, the social distancing, the masks, the whole bit. So I hope everybody out there that's listening to me is safe, and keep doing what you got to do to be safe. Eventually this will all go away. Have a great day, everybody. Bye now.